Commentaries my house. In a deep Chenmo shorna, cause upon my you only see with us. It's a double person.
Yeah, we can start it slowly. And then where did Charlie go? Ani, Lingar Roson, Anila, Charlie, Anila, Lingar Roson. Hello, Consuming younger.
Yeah, I'm going to book.
Well, recite that very slowly. In the morning, they are number larger.
Chenmo Jolin Le Shen Nga Jombo Yanda Bora Zobe Sange Repa Shaksu Yamba Yora Sheba Jidin Yamba Yevu Lube Alo Yurwa Lana Eba Lana Menam Ye Jamba Sange Jomde Peje Wa Shagya Tuba La Chata Lo Chodo Yazu She Jombo Jomde Shen Sheba Ra Jombo Yanda Bora Zobe Sange Repa Yora Sheba Jidin Yamba Yevu Lube Alo Yurwa Lana Eba Lana Menam Ye Jamba Sange Jomde Peje Wa Shagya Tuba La Chata Lo Chodo Yazu She Chenmo Jolin Le Shen Sheba Ra Jombo Yanda Bora Zobe Sange Repa Shalu Demba Devara Sheba Jidin Yamba Yevu Lube Alo Yurwa Lana Eba Lana Menam Ye Jamba Sange Jomde Peje Wa Shagya Tuba La Chata Chodo Yazu She
Ane Tobo Kyodante,
Sajen de la Gomba Dumporne, Ane Jeden de la Joje Zonde Ze Keba Kyola Chasa, Ane Gomba Sodu Sultanwa, Yese Gyazo Serge Gumboka, Aba Jede Zona Ramewa, Gumbo Kine Kyola Chasa, Encho Demba Jime Dawe Jan Sendo Jawa Kyola Chama Kyunja Ziva Suma Ji Nyame Kinjin Kyola Jala Gombo Tuje Jenamba Tanje Nyembe Damba Sona Yende Gyazo Jen Deshin Sheba Chala Abe Dejan Jabba Give Nson Lesh Chido Danda Jugeba Chiyu Shaba Ane Jove Layan De Lava Danda Rate Jingi Nama Yenden De Gibu Layan Jo Jiva Jiva Meja Zin Geba Gusum So Rangi sene yonsu de dele sanje dembai. Ravi mare dam gyuma sepa chuburdam. Melam lodan tinda guru duje chuna de darda. Sona de namje sepai goban tole gyenge rade de gara nada chive lajuve.
Basically, to the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, one gone beyond the full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakti clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, the supreme among humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise then, I prostrate. With your bodies, form supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs, face like the spotless moon, and like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, 3 worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. Having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to that Dharma which pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realization, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions, subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew, or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as touch. Do these merits my sentient being, attain the rank of all seen, subdue the foe of false, and be delivered from some satisfaction, perturbed by waves of aging, sickness, and death.
Baba Gunjo Selbo Dege Dagi Oba Dvije Na Chonde De Yabu Ka Chabu Humbo Gelonje Gindu Chenpo Da Janju Sembe Gindu Chenpo Da Tabu Shide Yude De Chonde De Sabo Na Wa Shi Jawe Chuje Naragi Tengen Senla Nyambara Shuzo Yande Anju Semba Semba Jembo Baba Jere De Wanju Shera Je Paru Du Jemba Samo Cheba Nila Nambara Tashi Bumbo Raya Rashi Je Tomba Namba Tao Ene Sange Je Tu Tsedan Demba Shari Bu Janju Semba Semba Jembo Baba Jere De Wanju La Tege Je Meto Riji Bu Kanla La Shera Je Paru Du Jemba Samo Cheba Cheba Deba De Chidara Labara Cha Tege Je Meba Na Janju Semba Semba Jembo Baba Jere Se Wanshu Ki Tsedan Demba Shari Da Debu La Tege Je Meso Shari Bu Rigi Bu Mo Kanla La Shera Je Paru Du Jemba Samo Cheba Cheba Deba De Ditar Nambara Tawar Shade Pumbo Ngapo De Da La Ya Rajingi Tomba Nambara Yanda Ba Jesu Tao Tomba Tomba Ni Suzo Dole Tomba Ni Shemayin Tomba Ni Le Kyang Su Shemayin Tejen Do Tsorwa Dan Duje Dan Nambara Sheba Na Tomba Shari Bu De Da Che Dan Je Tomba Ni De Tsini Meba Ma Jeba Ma Gaba Chema Meba Chema Dan Chewa Meba Kama Meba O Shari Bu De Da Wena Tomba Ni La Su Me Tsorwa Me Duje Na Me Nambara Sheba Me Mi Me Nawa Me Name Che Me Lu Me Yi Me Lu Jame Che Me Ro Me Re Jame Chu Me No Mige Kame Bane Ige Kame Ige Nambara Shebe Kake Batu Yame Do Mare Ba Seba Me Gaji Me Gaji Sebe Batu Yame Do Ejen Do Dongwa Wada Kunjong Obadan la me ye me toba me mado baya me do sharibu de da we chanju semba na toba me be chir shara je baru do semba la te ji ne de semba je ba me ji chaba me de chinje lo le shin do de ne nyang le de be thar chin du zong do na ba shu be sang ge tam je shara je baru do semba la te ne la na me ba yang da ba do be chanju do mo baru do ba sang ge so Yadavana Shiragi Bharadu Chimbe Ma Ripa Chimbe Lana Mebe Ma Minyamba Nyambe Ma Dunga Tanje Radu Shivara Chimbe Ma Mizumena Dembar Shebar Shadi Shiragi Bharadu Chimbe Ma Meba Tayata Gade Gade Bara Gade Bara Sangade Buddhi So Charibu Janju Samba Samba Chimbe Deda Shiragi Bharadu Chimbe Samola Labar Shao Tene Jumden de Tengen Zendele Shende Janju Samba Samba Jambom Baba Jere Zi Wanju Lalek So She Chawa Tene Lekso Lekso Riji Bu Tete Shindo Tete Shinde Chidara Kyoki Temba Sheragi Baru Do Jamba Samola Cheba Chade Teje Sheba Namya Jesu Yira Jumden de Je Dege Je Ka Tene Zedan Deba Sharida Deko Dan Janju Samba Samba Jambom Baba Jere Wanchuda, Hamjeda, Dembe Koro de Dada, Hada, Mida, Lama, Yida, Riza, Jebe, Jede, Yiran, Donden, Deje, Zumba, Lamumba,
Page 11. Thus I have heard, once the Blessed One was dwelling in Rashtriya on Vulture's Peak, together with a great assembly of monks and bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was totally absorbed in the concentration that examines all phenomena, called profound illumination. And at the same time, the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, was engaged in the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond, analyzing the five aggregates by nature empty. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra spoke to the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, how should those of good family learn who wish to follow the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond? Thus he spoke, and the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, replied to the Venerable Shariputra, saying, O Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of good family wishes to follow the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond, should look at it like this, analyzing the five aggregates by nature empty. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is no other than form. Form is no other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, recognition, karmic formations, and consciousness are all empty. Therefore, Shariputra, all phenomena are empty without characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are neither impure nor free from impurity. Neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no recognition, no karmic formations, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. There are no spheres of the eye, no spheres of the mind. There are none of these, all the way up to the sphere of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance, nor is there destruction of ignorance. There are none of these, all the way up to there is no old age and death, nor is there destruction of old age and death. Thus there is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, and no path. There is no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there is no attainment, all bodhisattvas hold to the wisdom gone beyond. And because there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. Passing utterly beyond falsity, they reach beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times, by relying on the wisdom gone beyond, fully and clearly awakened to unsurpassed, most perfect, and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the wisdom gone beyond, the mantra of great insight, the unequaled and unsurpassed mantra, the mantra that calms all suffering, should be known as the truth, for there is no deception. The mantra of the wisdom gone beyond is proclaimed. Tayanda Gandhi this is how Bodhisattva Mahasattva should learn. Then the Blessed One rose from that concentration. The Bodhisattva Mahasattva saying, and beyond should practice exactly as you have said. And that like God is the originals. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Sariputta, gathering in the world of gods, men, and the gods and spirits, their hearts full of joy, praise the words of the Blessed One. So is the noble discourse on the essence of the
어떻게 당도 들어서 이제 참 요게 낭주기다 뭐 좋지. 아니 대에 배제 당도 남이 첨부를 친이 지기가 제가 장주 남지를 봐스. 장주 남지를 봐스를 뭐 당도 배저 차샤는 아주 지den기 즉 저와 차샤. 아니 말아서 즉 하다다 지도보다 말아서 버게 로종 내세 임바이네 자 지속을 가르치다 임바이네 자와 가리 임바이네 고 자와 자외유 자와다 아니 자녀지 가서 자와 자외유 자외래 되게 토네 아니 냠내 집 요레스나 되나시 당 알아서 장주 남지를 봐 냠내 제스도 아니 다 냠내 제야 냠내 제고야 다 냠내 제야 다 냠내 진얘기 오 자와다 제외유 제바 요와 나시 전에 남내 나고래 해서
It is Sunday again, and Sunday morning we resume the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment. This is our subject matter to which we attend as listeners and offer instruction. These are stages on the path to enlightenment, and the stages are no different from stages in ordinary activities, in worldly pursuits, whether the stages of our study when we're engaged in formal study or other activities. There's the individual, there's their purpose, and then the very activity in which they are engaged. And so it is with the greatest stages on the path to enlightenment and the stages along this path that there is the person engaged in their activities with their purpose and objective. So as we attend to the Dharma exposition as listeners and as we provide the instruction, these are true for us too.
뭐야 지대기 자와 총이네 자 아니 지금 로종 제 가리네다 자와 지금 자와 지리선마다 자와 또 간데스 제국이메 자와 지세 유가이메 자와 가르치고 이메 아니 자와 지네다라는 게 가르치는 제고래서 더 저스리로 와 제고야 고바 아니 배우지 시하고 그래서 대난신 이제 땅도 자주 남지를 봐서 다 지금这些 教的 자주 남지를 봐서 자주스리 자와 지사가 유들했다 산지지 고바한테 아니 들렸다 자와도 용양이 지도 도사기 랑가를 남지를 봐서 자주 남지를 봐서 다 들려 줘야돼 아니 수도 다 되는 거랑 차대요 그래서 근데 이제 말아서 다 안들 자주 남지를 발라라면 아니 바가 도사데 가와서 산지지 고방을 두고 있다 어디쯤 자와도 제일 멋있는 거잖아요 그러고 열어서
In business, in education, in worldly pursuits, there's a purpose, and in the activity and the person engaged in those activities. So we too, as we engage with the graded stages on the path to enlightenment, have in mind a purpose, are aware of benefits of such practice. Now, in the case of the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, when one provides the explanation of this text, the objective, as it were a destination, is bodhi mind, Buddhahood. The path and way to bodhi mind and Buddhahood is a progressive way of stages. And the person treading that path we are those persons. Our destination and objective is to achieve bodhi mind, Buddhahood. So understand that these are our objectives we are treading the path and we're following a path of stages.
내가 가르치 자와 가르치 뭐 있나요? 아니 자와 가시 까마치 주주직 이마지가요. 자와 가시 깨봐. 아니 자와 가시 깨봐 장면 봐도 치고 자외를 망고 열와. 그다음에 자와 되게디 아니 그 뒤다. 아니 잘네 아니 자외기 좀 제시 하고 열었어. 그래서 근데 이비 먼저 다음 배나 미지직스 나바이나 깨게 맛이 봐도 다 아들 미지직이 자왔어. 맹직다 그래. 아니 배나 가서 잠불링 뒤로 지대지 감 뒤로 차고 샤바이나 지대지 감 차네. 그게 마직 봐도 아니 깨봤어. 깨배 봐도 내가 저 대시지 깨기로 와. 어디나 지단다 가서 전주를 남지 림바도 제자리 아니 드링 남지 림바로 고추 받는 손대는 지식 상마 계지 봐도 자와직 되게 전에 냠내 지나다 뒤져 지시 느낌 그래서
In any and every activity, there's a duration. It may be a minute's time, an hour, a year, an eon, or countless eons. There are various measures of the duration of various labors and activities. So when one explains an activity in terms of the duration, we, for instance, may apply a lifetime's measure to exploits in this life, meaning from the moment of birth until death, the activities therein will be and take place during the duration of a lifetime. But then when we speak of the generation and destruction of the universe, this is from the origins of the universe until its disintegration, a full epoch. And then two, in the stages on the path to enlightenment, we begin with today, and the duration is up until the achievement of Buddhahood.
된저래 제가 간다 자와 들고 아니 배나다 아주 뒤 지속 자와이나 나랑 지속 자와이나 아니 까마직 주주직 이마직 로직 아니 메시직 스타디도 아주 지속다 메시디기 또고 담성 내가 가리나다디 다 링쇼들라 메시직 아니 내 까마직 메시직 보다 장기로 와 어딘지 조단한테 레스 다 디네 아주 파 공부했겠네 다 아주 지대인지 감나 바케시는 아주 겨왕아치다 아니 지금 미 수수 지조 아주 지조 다 되게 지조디 많이 배다 계제 겨와 치마다 나마시디 아니 개바직스도 많이 다 간다 지대인지 차네 차베 개바 네베 개바 아니 지베 개바 동베 개바스코 계친 개주 개바 개주 담발라 계친 직스 제가 되게 지도서 봤다. 아주 저블링이 도당 세당 들어와. 야, 그 배니래서 야 디나신 아주 다들 전주 람을 롭세디 자주 남지를 발을 롭세디 단다 소소 탐매베게 나봐 예봐. 롭베랑가 예봐. 디네 로 장니. 아니 자주 람을 받게 차상야 장네. 아니 제만 남지 고반 톱 산지 고반 톱소나 아니 다 간다 디버친 거 람리 롭베게. 아니 자와 차상지 줘 봤어. this in some of the restaurants.
Kelbachigla, and Nishu, Mapchu, what's it?
Kelpa Jajula Gazin Keba Jajula Gazin Chick, Keba Jajutia, and he was Jadu. Tamu Jigbe Keba Nishu, never an issue, Tomal an issue, and never an issue. Dominic Gajutamba, Gajutamba, Gasinchi, gave a chimbu chicks, or to
So then in worldly activities, worldly exploits, durations are measured in minutes and days and weeks and years, and that the outermost duration, a lifetime. And these are our measures of time in our pursuits of food, clothing, and status. At most, we measure a lifetime, anywhere from a minute to a lifetime, but nothing more. But as we move on to consider past existences and later existences to come, and the societies during those times. We speak of eons, and eons that take place in the generation of the universe, the epoch of the subsistence of the universe, the epoch of the disintegration of the universe, and the epoch of its voidness. These four, each being made up of 20 eons, together the four eons of 20, the four great eons of 20 eons, coming to a grand total of 80 eons for a great kalpa, mahakalpa. We consider these as we begin our exploit, beginning as ordinary persons and treading the path to Buddhahood. With the achievement of omniscient Buddhahood, all the Mahayana stages of the path to enlightenment will have been completed.
가르치고 장주 남녀를 말로 표정 지겨 장주 남녀를 말로 표정 지나 가르요래 가르치는 지고래 간제스 지고래 스타 좋습니다 당아도 디나를 아니 계시오래 스타 디디 당아도 장주 남녀를 말로 로보에 길리디 다 가르스나 당아도 안다 심제 탐제 대화도 때문에 중에다 저에게 고방 산지지 고방 생기지 요래 딱히 토고 그랬어 until the lam the little lobres. What a tambour logo in Zend the Shiro response.
Stages on the path to enlightenment is subject matter for study, contemplation, and meditation. But what is our purpose to motivate study, contemplation, and meditation upon the stages of the path to enlightenment? Why do this? How would I do this? And what's to come when I do this? These questions naturally follow. The stages on the path to enlightenment are subject matter for study and for contemplation. Why is it so? How is it so? And what's to come? The purpose and the reason for it is to part vulnerable sentient beings from their sorrows and endow them finally with lasting contentment. Lasting contentment, the state of Buddhahood, exists. It exists such that I would bring it to pass and establish sentient beings in reality there. Thus, I engage in the trainings on the path to enlightenment.
Oh, yeah, that's really love at Hamburg. That Sanju Lamji Rimbala, love and church Chinye Chebala, Hamburg, church Chinye. And the Yapu Yonga Chebala, Toma Gulum Kecho, anybody. Lambi Chebaba Zoga. That never to check where the church chat or the Indu. Tomata, Sanji go once again top to Matona, Simjig to Tarchima Chitugu Medu. That to Tarchima Chitu Chitu, Sanji go on the top of the Diji to Sanju Lamji Rimbala lobby, Sanda Gulundi. Oh my Chi Kanga Gulundi Joe or Ezons.
Training in the stages of the path to Bodhi mind from the vantage of a teacher requires first a proper intention. The teachers, the gurus of the path to enlightenment insist upon establishing an intention that recognizes that all sentient beings must be placed in the state of Buddhahood, and but to this end, I myself must achieve Buddhahood, without which there is no establishing sentient beings in their Buddhahood. So then the intention is to achieve personal Buddhahood, to establish sentient beings in Buddhahood. and to commit oneself to this as one's intention. And this is the intention for the instructor in the Dharma as much as it is for the audience.
Oh, yeah, that and that beginning on the page share to what in that Sanju Lamri Ribatilla Candes Labores. Oh, yeah, that's what you saw the Candes Lamgi Ribati Yoga in that Candes Labores and that to what diggy. And then to share that young Yoras Kamata to what the Labiatilla. Sanju Lamri Rimba Labiatilla, that's not Changjuk Sandela, Changjuk de la, and Changju Chembo, Changju. That changing choosing with the your chair, your Changju, Tobia, Changju de la. 재산 장주 첨보수를 단단하고 람림 개념의 제일 법이야게 장주디 가르스는 장주 첨보 산지지고 왕생들에 대해 되네 장주 제인이 가리었으나 아니 랑이 다 도마 장 소주 코알에 탈바체 아니 타바체를 탑 빼놨다 인도기 장주열에 간제기 장주열 어디도 단이 장주 다들 람림의 제배 장주 첨보세에 자기 요 말에 제가 내가 진주스 민토그랬네 민따그래 법자 곧 법자 탈도 지적이요 되는지 좀 진주스 민따그래 해서 뭐지
The questions I mentioned, which naturally follow, how is it that one trains in the stages of the path to enlightenment? A question that provokes a feeling in us. If there is such a path, then how do I tread it? This question is addressed through an outline of 3 bodhi minds. Bodhicitta, or rather, enlightenment as it is, awakening, bodhi mind, may be classified as great bodhi mind, great awakening, middling awakening, and lesser awakening. Now the Mahabodhi mind, the great Bodhi mind, is that of the Mahayana and the achievement of Buddhahood. These other 2 Bodhi minds, for instance, liberation from cyclic existence from samsara, personally, is the Bodhi mind known to the Shravaka and to the Pratyeka Buddha, but it isn't the great Bodhi mind. Nevertheless, it is thought to be ultimate in the Shravakayana.
Oh, yeah, 이제 장주 림바들이 요구해야지 가르쳐 버렸으나 다 나도 뭐게 내중구 삼바께 그러 내중구 아무거는 중에 내중구 삼바께 내중구 삼바께도 안에 가리어서 라니 코아기 동엘라 교연도 통에 텔레 탈바 되베 삼바지겨 어야 다디 라니 탈바 되바디 뺄라 체니 신양 또 동엘라 탈보고도 탈나마다 되기면도 동엘라 껴보고도 삼바 삼바니께 어야 제가 데데이도 다 라니 코아다 당보디 라니 코아를 교연도 통에 텔레 탈바 되바디라 아니 다 년도의 장주 아니 라제의 장주 서디니 미라니 레버레스 다신 다랑다 신 탐지 월 동네는 들어보고도 들려 탈바치고도 대치도 고반 토고도 삼았다는 냠내 장주 아니 장주 전부 고반이 뭐여래서
In the Mahayana stages on the path of enlightenment, why is it that we pursue the stages, and how is it done? It is done first with an intention that is renunciatory. Personally, cyclic existence is recognized to entail sorrow from which we wish to extricate ourselves. This impulse is renunciatory, but it does not end personally, but is the basis for the extrapolation to all other sentient beings who necessarily experience sorrows themselves, and therefore necessarily they too must be liberated from the bondage of the sorrow of cyclic existence. This is the outlook of the Mahayanas, different from the personal aspiration of the Shravaka and the Pratyeka Buddha, who do recognize the drawbacks of cyclic existence
but their endeavor to extricate themselves from cyclic existence does not inform an aspiration then to liberate all sentient beings. Limited is the scope, but when the scope embraces both personal sorrows and a wish to liberate oneself from them and all others as well, this is the renunciation, and this is the aspiration to Buddhahood of the Mahayanas.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. They use them, but down to Tanda Karishi, what and you lump your body, Nam, Xiang, to the Tipo Chimbo Church. And you Chimbo. Obviously, Jula Tuya, Sheko, yours, and Jula Tuya, the Karikores, and I Judah, Kenda. And that two got this love over the cut. Two China countries love over you, or the take it as Jeopardy on yours. Chesanta, Jewish and Sheva in a Jewish and the Tanda, Chanju Lam, Chanjus. Is same you like give it to the Udela, and it can take Manga doing set or that the Lama Lago your resources.
Now we ourselves are engaged in the Mahayana Dharma for the eventual achievement of Mahabodhi, Great Awakening, and we are energetically invested in accumulating its causes and its conditions, and considering the duration required to do so. Considering the causes required for awakening, one first considers the sevenfold cause and effect oral instruction for the development of bodhicitta.
Oh, yeah, that's called Chanju some you like Kego, you like you chane, Junde Manga doing the Shevana Shire, that in the Yang Chana, that Karikores, and Yang and Sonam saw Sabu. Sonam saw the Chidula, and it tapped to the Juba, Yala doing. Oh, Yala doing the golden medical years, that digital Yala doing the shit your response.
When bodhicitta must be developed in the mind, its cause will be the sevenfold oral instruction. Condition for its arising will be the sufficiency of accumulated autonomy. To accumulate sufficient autonomy or merit, we engage in the 7-branch offering, the Anuttara Puja. That is where we begin.
Oh, yeah, that the way is pretty college is that is to other, that two the love to some, but that tune the Tusum chen. And it tuned the Tusum chen love to a yina, and it best that on the top of July Keva, Murwata. And a packet you did Tola Madua, that's I'm watching you have catchable you do. Lavia to tune the Tusum chen and love what essence.
Regarding time, it is to be organized into the formal meditation session and the intercession period. Organizing one's time in this way, one will more swiftly achieve realization and no time will be wasted. This is the important way to conserve one's time.
Oh, yeah, that in the tune the Tusum level, and what Toma tune there were 2 young Chitola, 2 one road, and Jovichu took none of that, Jovichu on the Adangaba, Jovichu Ngaba, and carriers, no? Ah, Jovichu Ngaba, the Yala do medita Cheba, the Chatan, Catantina, your Dina, and Yala doing an of the Yala Tambo. Fruit. That doesn't want to son it, and the Yala Duba. Moe Yalak, that is your response.
In the formal meditation session, such a session begins with 6 preliminary rites. Of 6 preliminary rites, we are occupied with the 5th preliminary rite, which involves the 7-branch offering and the offering of the mandala world system. In the 7-branch offering, the first 6 branches we have completed, leaving the 7th dedication.
Oh, yes, that Yala do you go in that so. Yala do you gonna touch down Yala do you gonna toss said it, Yala do you get that so that the courage was not. When I'm to Tambo Yala doing and the Tambo charts of Yala, the charts of Yala digi. So courage was an magic in which one that to me you go. 조직 나게디요. 나게기 님부 나게를 님부 때야 치도라. 아니 차서 양라디 냐네 지기요레스. 아니 처밥에 양라디 아니 디레 가서 세나게 당아 저기 거기 집에 냐네 야고 용마도 세나게 오게 지어서 세나를 님부 때야 치도라 처밥에 양라디 다 되자시다 티무 순간에 님부 중에들라 샤베 로디 두순이 님부라고 샤바 제대 두순이 예바사게 예바데가 다비시들 샤바 지오로 어야 아니 디네 제수이랑 시바 제수이랑데 차도 님부 아주부터 내가 뭐지 유용이 바라도 직 내가 간체가 되게 개월을 맞춰야 돼 차도 제게도 차도 될 님부 제야지도 제수이랑지 아니 마바도 주고고 이봐 주고고 야가디 당아서 샘젤을 내가 제바다 아니 즉 주봉을 내서 어디 주고 디버서 답이 지도라 아니 주고고 야가디 냐면 지고 아니 냥을면도 주고 냥을면도 소화다 바디 아니 수수고 세는 거 용하다 그치다 냥을면도 소화다 바디 라말다 냥을면도 소화다 바디 이내 딜 따버도 저어디 가르스나 랑게 책이 발지 시와 책 발제신의 책 이론도 내봐. 어야 책배 튼두이 요도 가다 책 내봐도 책 내봐 제베. 다 연내체 어디 뒤지고 나네 야라 두두 수용 거 열해서.
Seven branch offerings accumulate the store of autonomy for the person. What in principle is involved in the accumulation of autonomy? We begin the seven branches with the branch of prostration. This is the antidote to pride. Pride is, as it were, the very opening for a whole host of sorrows, auras. So it is that prostration is its antidote. The second branch is offering. It is an antidote to greed. In the furtherance of the practice of generosity, when we find no success in our practice of generosity, it is because our greed interferes. This greed has its antidote in the branch of offering. Ignorance, desirous attachment, and aversion, the three poisons, find their antidote in the branch of confession. The fourth branch, rejoicing, is antidote to jealousy and envy. And all the many labors in which we are engaged, when they nevertheless are not constructive for us and not virtuous, it is because of jealousy and envy. And the fifth branch, supplication to turn the wheel of the Dharma, is antidote or purifies the negativity of ever having done violence to sentient beings. And every time the Holy Dharma has been abandoned by us, these negativities are purified by the supplication to turn the wheel of Dharma. The sixth branch, a request to the Guru not to pass into nirvana, is focused upon the lifespan of the Guru, but too has its purpose for us in furthering our own lives, in lengthening the life and removing obstacles in our lives. So these are the first six branches. The seventh branch is dedication. Dedication is the antidote to anger. In the kosha, 6 root mental afflictions are presented, and the manner in which, or the way in which they arise from their causes and their conditions. The presentation based upon the kosha of 6 root mental afflictions follows in the Dharma of lesser scope.
이거 오야 다든데 제산 된데 이제 좀 맞다나 저 탄다 이저 양라 뒤 표현 시심부 시심부의 양라 뒤기 표현 시를 거들에 제가 이제 좀 맞다 디네 계산하고 양을면다 소화다 봐. 아 초고고와 어디도 가마다 계산 법정 오면은 더 잘했어. 계산 된데 이제 따다 간다리 양을면다 소화다 봐도 초고고와 돼서 양 표현 친구 시다래 표현 친구래 아니 수주고 소화답도 잡아야 왜다 다다 뭐 소화답에디 소신 세답이나 소신이 군들로 소화답을 아니 때문에 수주기 라마모서 텐데베이나 라마로 소화답에 어야서 소화답네 간다 시지 시수 삼바베라기다 아주 나나리나 장미마와 시지 시스기로 디나시 제 라마기 베 당아서 남주고 돈에 켈레바스기도 미지 알아 지도는 계시나 오 컬렌스도 그 남주야고 때서 그 켈렌스 세도 어디나시 제가 알아서 상계도 요새 봐도 두 개벽원에 아니 수수고 소왔다 아니 소왔다면 시지 시수 삼바데 전과 대시라 개침을 해서
네, 상하라 가른 랑이어레
장미마와 시지
장미마와 너
그 말레마 제거도 켈렌스 해줘라 어디서 켈렌 봐서 시지 켈렌 장미마고 시지 해서 나 왕주나 이 집에 지고도
We are now occupied with consideration of the benefits of the 7-branch offering. This is our subject at the moment. Having completed the supplication to turn the wheel of Dharma and the request not to pass into nirvana, these 2 as well, the request not to pass into nirvana, the request, supplication to turn the wheel of Dharma, these two entailing tremendous benefits when practiced, and they may be practiced as I have described, where one visualizes the merit field and makes the request to the visualized merit field. If one hasn't visualized the merit field and is instead recollecting their guru, then the request is made to the remembered guru, the supplication to the remembered guru. That in any case, the merit field and the guru accept your request is a necessary conception involved in the supplication. It's important in the mandrayana and the initiations that the witnesses accept, and ordinarily we speak of a person agreeing to something. Here too we mean that the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas agree or accept the request.
어디서 땅에서 단단 것을 채고야 돼. 그래서 어디 누구다 뜻이 잡고서 어디 지랄 가장 개침부여래서 배낭으로 지den기 차와 있는 자원무시디 약고 용구 요구유나 당보원도디 약보지 다리 약보지 거래 약으로나 뭐시체 아니 뭐시 제사도 아니 뭐시디 마 다이 배 약보지 내야 치돌라 아니 주기 차와도 고고도 왔어 대나시 땅아도 단다 로종이 냠내나 자니 셰바이나 아니 로종이 냠내 지금 주기 아니 간에서는 보다니라 자와니 있어 도마 자와다 탐에 자와디 무식이 자와 제일다 개치슈리도 아니 자와는 개처 이직이 어려서.
And now we are considering the branch of dedication as very important, no differently from the way it is important in our ordinary activities, any ordinary project we set out for ourselves. In the beginning, the success of any project will depend upon the motivating intention to begin it. And then once it is well begun, then the actual activity can be undertaken in full, such that one reaches the conclusion of the project. And then when one has finalized, when one has concluded the project, in order for that success and achievement to remain relevant, one finalizes it, concludes it, and we thereby conclude with dedication, finalize with dedication. In the tradition of training the mind, the great adepts of the tradition say there are two critical activities, that in the beginning and that in the end. The work in the beginning and the work in the end are the two principal labors for you.
세단다 이들의 배나가도 딱 토마 꿀롱다 타마 모아니버디 다 니나지 배나가도 모다 땅에 모다 서들이 다 토마 꿀롱도 차대요. 다 땅에 모다 땅에 나로 가도 다고 카줘야 돼. 다 스트레칭으로 디츠디 모아도 차대요. 세단다 모다 디파 두두 좀 아니 사제 그런 게 되봐 이걸 로고로 둬야 돼. 그 라고 줘야 돼. 주는 로고로 와. 어디 나지는 어디 아니 개와 체세죠 개와디 가서 제부 가서 첨부 연구가 유매 제부 배랑게 되봐 이거 나지 제부 토부가 유나 아니 토바도 스위치 거스나 어디 치고서 어디 개첨부 요래서.
Now, for example, these two principal activities are the intention in the beginning and the dedication in the end. Take, for example, driving a car. The car, with its engine for movement, is the intention. But where it will go by the power of its motor depends upon the steering done with the wheel. So it is that virtues in which we have engaged through our intention will be directed to a result that may be great or less, depending upon how we dedicate that virtue. And so the dedication of virtue is, as it were, steering the wheel of the motorized car.
근데 인류 당뭐 아니 랑기다 개와 치중 가리 제샤바 예바 있나 개와 첨부 유네 개와 춘주 유네 다 간다 뭐 되게 야보지 심매나 아니 개와디 제부 랑라다 대화 첨부 토베야 줄라 거기 가져야지 톱고 이번에 이거가 뭐에게 쳐버리진 거고 열어서 뭐어디 상부 가져야나 그 개와디 그 톱체로 줘야다 제부 첨부 토베야 간가 내가 친구들이 뭐어디 차대요 그래서 제가 뭐어디 빼면서 이렇게 첨부 드시 경고 열어서.
In the dedication, then, the virtues, big and small, in which one has engaged, whether they are great or lesser virtues, in any case, when one fails to dedicate them, that which may have otherwise resulted, a result of great bliss, for instance, because the difference is made by the dedication, may or may not occur. The dedication of virtue directs, intensifies, and increases, thus the emphasis given to dedication.
Yes. More the melum jibidi, this cabario, more the melum nil. More the melum nil, chabar careers and Mosumushi Tishaginda. More the melum jibidi, Musum chair, Musum. Casana, more melum niga ibadi mambu yorda. More in a melum yungur. Melum in a more yungumar, watch that. 문이버 차소아 니가 많이 봐 망고요. 세상다 계시쇼 모치고 가스나 뭐 이나 뭐놈 인고래. 뭐놈 이나 뭐 인고 말해. 배나 뭐놈 나 가리오래. 배나 산제 고바 토바쇼스 뭐놈 잡아도다. 아니 배 말 롱주 친구 용화쇼 배 수수 셈나 가리 세니 이치도 용화쇼스 뭐놈 잡나? 디 뭐놈래. 뭐 차가 말해서
understanding dedication and prayer and the difference between the two is important as well. There is a difference between the two. What is it? Now I'm going to describe it in terms of four possibilities in that language. For there are instances of a prayer that is also a dedication. That's the first possibility. Both. Then there are dedications that are prayers. Dedications are necessarily prayers. But prayers are not necessarily dedication. For example, an example of a prayer that is not necessarily a dedication, or rather, an aspirational prayer that is not necessarily a dedication. May I achieve the ground of Buddhahood. May I finally find sufficiency and resources for my use. Such reflections are aspirations. They are not dedications. A dedication is necessarily a prayer, but a prayer is not necessarily a dedication. May I find something to eat? May I find something filling and delicious to eat? This could be said to be an aspiration, but it is no dedication. Now, there are plenty of instances of a prayer being dedication to. For instance, any of the 7 branch offerings, when they are engaged in and accumulate virtue for a person, when one, for instance, one is engaged in the branch of offering and accumulated autonomy, and when one dedicates that autonomy to and aspires to have that autonomy produce separation from sorrow and endow the person with contentment, this is an instance, such as an instance of both aspiration and dedication. Now, in short, to put a point on it, when there is a material, an object that may be dedicated, when there's some content there that may be put to use through the aspiration, this will be a dedication, and it will be an aspiration. It would be, for instance, the dedication of one's resources, clothing, or even virtues too.
Oh, yeah. And Karimuguyoresna, Rangi, Semba Sambo Chijogi, Gewa Sonam Sashajo, Gewa Sashajo Jorwa, O the Gewa di, Ani that bed, Sanji Govan Tobalo, Yulo draw shows, or the Chitolo Mochigi or Resums.
Now, in the path to enlightenment, especially the dedicatory aspiration is always, by my benevolence and the virtue of my benevolence and kindness and goodness, may that kindness and goodness become cause for the achievement of Buddhahood. Here is a principle, dedicatory aspiration.
Oh, yeah. 야왕 아니 제 무가리 요반 데지 예베 토네 아니 몰람 잡소나 뭐하래 몰람래 다 뭐야 그 제다 겨와 가야 매바지니 아니 말라베 무 토바쇼 세 토바쇼 기부 용쇼 스마노 잡나 몰람래 뭐 말레스 어디서
So then in short, when there is or are objects that are dedicated aspirationally, and they may be virtues, and they may be food, and they may be clothing, any objects that are dedicated in an aspiration, this is aspiration and this is dedication, both. But where there is no object, be it virtue or food or clothing, to dedicate, and there is instead the aspiration that one come to possess resources or come to possess this or that, this is aspiration and it is not dedication.
Oh yeah, that in the Indusambata, more the motion actually, that in was Peja Koran subject or Tambudua, more motion, more the subject to Kang or Gezase, Kangichi Dongoa, Geza Chumiseba, Kang Dongoa, Lamen Sojan Dongoa, Kangitun Dongoa, Semjing Dongoa, Switch Dermoa. And Chikarina, then 2 times that Chigo Legi or the little Digito Chita.
I reviewed this, clarifying dedication for you. In texts, a presentation of dedication often follows an outline with 6 relevant parts of a dedication. That which is dedicated, the reason for making the dedication, often said to be so that there is no loss of the object. The purpose 2, the achievement of Buddhahood. For whom is the dedication made? On behalf of sentient beings, etc.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, that Moya de la Modu Zamba. Kademos, that tap the sheriff nigger simple on the water go less. Tap the sheriff nigger simple on the Magona, any tabby channel, somebody Mazuna, gets the top chamber check while sheriff send somebody Mazuna gets the Angela, by Yam, Lamsanam and Yam Dry Chagger. Says that he to tap the sheriff. Nigger simple one and he gets us on the water. Funa, and he gets that top chamber check your reason.
Then how is the dedication performed? Especially the dedication is performed by joining the method aspect and the wisdom aspect. Where the method aspect is absent, that which is dedicated will not increase. Where the wisdom aspect is absent, it will decline. For ensuring the strength of the dedication, both must be joined.
Oh, the penna, that did not peasant pedo and Daja Dumbok. Dumbok, then they go more Merlum to the dinner, and you come now. Korang Moma, the penna on the tenant being one of the issue that will be this shaggy at the penna on the Dumbat and the Daja Dumbato, Daja Dumbadi, and Korang Moma, Loba Lamji Negos, Lamlo, so Sadu. Forget Yamne Nandu Zamba Karana, like Gajan Thomason to Sosa, Gajan Thomason, Korang Sosa to Judy, Gajan Tame, Tambuniba Subas, Thomason to Sosa. Oh, the dig any ton and it's Korang, that's Satom and it's Peta Tamasa, you were getting out in the treasures that didn't a huge Korang pay. Jobanya Lengi Chawa to Hazang pay. Said Tobuchev, oh, the dig Legi sauce up to the tenant more chin. And it's a bullying around all of that pocket to me, she was chat. And it's sure big saw chat to look at Jum Didi, Koranga Melum to talk with Chua is. Or the dishes at the Melum to talk to the Togi and it did Chua to the petty the song or so much.
An illustration of dedication is the Buddha Bhagavan himself. For a moment, I'll describe a moment in the progression of the Bhagavan. The Bhagavan achieved what we attribute to him in his lifetime here in the world by the force of dedication that the Bhagavan practiced while the Bodhisattva engaged in the training, accumulating autonomy, pursuing practice, which was ongoing for 3 countless eons. This is the duration of that pursuit of the Bhagavans. The first countless eon, the second countless eon, the third countless eon, after which the Bhagavan achieved the ground of Buddhahood. It was a progression, sensational and advancing, that was dedicated to deliberately by the Bhagavan a world to come in which sorrows were pacified and there were resources available for that end. This was the Bhagavan's aspiration that came to realization.
어쨌든 다시 전박에 남다르다 인자 그런 도마 남로 롭주 롭에 남도 이제 장면도 초사버거든 루규디기 요래 야 이제 온분내고 이나 아니 양께 체지 루지가 상게 봐야 요래 스페는 것도 유용하도 단 남다 시야 그래서 그냥 공부를 좀 찾아봐이나 공부를 아니 단 온분내고 토네 아니 냠내 나는 체지 루지가 상게 얘기 아니 better 주진도 지하게 열해서
Such is the liberation of the Bhagavan, which followed first the 3 incalculable eons engaged in training, in the path of training. His was of such a duration. But there is too, for those of keenest intellect, the achievement of Buddhahood with one body in one lifetime. The extraordinary example of Nagarjuna, of the keenest intelligence, in one lifetime, the illustrious Nagarjuna achieved enlightenment. He would be for us the subject of the keenest intelligence.
어딘데 딱 한다는 수수기 좀봐 소 가서 전부 쌓여네 되게 개발했어 딱 한다는 배제진 장면숨도 조사는 상계 열에 양직 채직 류직을 상계고 선나 상계 열에 개투야 뉴버데 열에 하나도 빼는 다른 하나도 저 차샤버이나 엄마한테 다저 전박이 이제 장면숨도 조사하고 류란데 아주 류디도 오지 얼마도 아주 류디 집을 가가이 받을 말했어 공부를 그 체질 류지를 상계 두개게 땡대야 아주 나시사 땡대야 아주 단도 유조 류디도 오지 얼마도 디다 아주 공부를 류 가가도 아주 류 가가도 같은 말했어 류den지 거래 이나양 수수기 냠내 숙치 중에 또 간제 제부터야 요르와다 어디에 제발도 요래서
Such results are the product of investment in the accumulation of the autonomy required. That may be achieved in 3 incalculable eons, as it was for the Bhagavan, or in one lifetime, using one body, as in the case of Nagarjuna. In either case, the lengthy duration, the swift achievement, we have the very same potential that the Bhagavan and Nagarjuna had. It isn't as though the Bhagavan was differently endowed than we are while he was engaged in his training. It isn't as though Nagarjuna was differently endowed than we are, as Nagarjuna achieved enlightenment in one body, in one lifetime, the basis is the very same. It isn't as though it's any different. The difference comes down to the intensity with which one practices.
Oh yeah, 배제나 가서 다시 주시야나 저거는 배는 셔리프 아니 배 셔리프 배좀 되게 코르기 나네 배 셔럽 초도 주와 용야 대양 고랑이 뭐마 말음 제베 또 되는 중앙이 가서 고랑이 뭐마 란제 다좀 받들라 캅지 피 아니 캅지 왜 손은 되게 뭐 발랑 앞에 되는 배 셔럽 넘버들이 용아 쇼신 말음 잡아 이တူ때네 엔다네 고랑 좀 되게 콜라게 이라는 배 셔럽도 주에 깨고야지 아니 뭐다 말랑 미쳐버리니 서어도 배잖아 누기만 요래 손지
Or ani sharibugi ani ke wangamagi ke wangamala ani rangsang ye chigla ani kapchik buwa
갑자기 피왜
kapchik
짜지 갑자기 피왜 개와디 아니 고랑 뭐지 배 마음발에 배 시럽 투다 때 맞는 요한 쇼스 말은 좀 하고 어디 피왜 말은 때는 달래 배 시럽 투도 중앙인데 이 대부 이스 어디 더 나요래
And another illustration of the efficacy of dedication is the story of Shariputra, born into the retinue of the Bhagavan, but born into the retinue of the Bhagavan by the force of the dedication made by Shariputra in a past life of his, in which he made an offering to a Pratyeka Buddha. The offering was of a very sharp needle. And at the time of making the offering of the needle to the Pratyeka Buddha, that Shariputra at that time made the aspiration, may I be born with the keenest intellect in a world to come. And so by the force of this dedication, in fact, Shariputra was born into the retinue of the Bhagavan. This is then the result of dedication, the intellect of Shariputra, the result of the dedication performed by Shariputra. This is attested to in the sutra.
뭐야 딱 한달 유디 쉐버를 깨네 단냠내 가르쳐야 해서 딱 뭐디 뭐 랑기 제베 개와디 당하다 밖에 대부 배산지 고만 토고 이나자 랑기 대와 랑기 대와 가르 토고 이나 토비에 간다는 뭐디 개침부 이봐 뭐 가주 슈침부 이봐이나 디지 대부 슈침부 토고 이봐 대부 침부 토고 이봐 어디기 냠내는 잘 보래요 손없이
These illustrate for us the efficacy of dedication. Whatever the virtues that we have accumulated, they may be directed and dedicated to the achievement of Buddhahood, or even the mere achievement of some contentment for ourselves personally. Whatever the direction that dedication takes, the result will be consistent with the intensity and the scope of the dedication, to recognize the importance and efficacy of dedication.
Oh yeah, finance susulas rumbuchen that's the mudo kariyoba ina that's the mudo zobani tapage sobat mudo ani page tati tada kudinde sonyegi la wallesona ku agu serge kuta pes ile soyega adi serdi page sobat dugaji la watena ani zeete soya pena 고조 데를 표시 땅으로 어디나 신체는 모아서기 아니 세디기 이기 지도 모아이나 아니 세디기 대화 토배서 차그래 아니 수수고 배 마음을 상기지 고방 토배다 제치마 편제의 대화 토배서 모아이나 아니 그 대화 대한 치치마 편제의 대화 토배서 차기 열잖아 비인지 모아디기 개화디 더 더만도디 모아디기 야마 땅기 여바디 어두시네 하고 지네 야면 적으로 해서
Just as precious metals, gold and silver, when they fall in the hands of a talented craftsperson, who can make with them a golden representation of a deity or a silver representation of a deity. And just as the same precious metal, gold and silver, falling into other hands may just as well be debased, so too virtues may be merely dedicated to the experience of personal gratification in this lifetime, but as though gold and silver were to fall into the hands of a talented craftsperson and were to become deities of gold and silver, if virtue were dedicated to the achievement of Buddhahood, to the achievement of contentment and satisfaction in lives to come, then consistently the results will bode ever more fortunate for a person by the force of their dedication. So truly practice with this conviction.
Oi, 근데 이동 가지고 뒤에다 뭐는다 뭐 지주 잠바 아니 가도이네다 세대기 시도라 뭐 지기가 말했어 세대기 또고 담선로서 가지도 뭐 제외나 아니 세대 저도 뭐한테 저도 요래서
Do not dedicate virtues to mere gratification in this life, to food, clothing, and status in this life, for this ensures that those virtues vanish.
어, 나는 뭐 마지나 가리거래서나 뭐 마지나 아니 개와디 발라도 그래 충으로도 그래 예도 그래서 가르치나 아니 뭐다 개와디 점벌싱이 누바도 술래서나 콘도를 없어 콘도게 아니 개와디 발마 점네 아니 간다 개와디 매바 소셔 세다비 매바 마소야 치돌라 아니 뭐하디 인지미지 지고를 해서
What are the drawbacks of failing to practice dedication? Virtues will attenuate, become ineffective, and finally disappear. Anger destroys virtue. Where virtue is not preserved by dedication, anger will surely destroy the virtue, and the virtue disappear.
뭐야 나 진주 나라 가진 것도 다 레야마다 생이 레주기 료나라 다 진주 나라 제바 동도 사바이스 제바 동다지 사비 동도 사바이 진데 대시 지바다 아니 내가 셔발 쳐바표와 되게 룡아지 자와 제조 망보 제바 동다 사조 예와 이나양 콘도 끼지찌기 좀 그래서 어디에 송요래서
We haven't yet arrived at the chapter in which we find the verse in the Bodhicharya Avatara, the way of the Bodhisattva, eons worth of generosity, eons worth of the virtue of generosity and patience and the perfections practiced in a moment's anger are destroyed.
Oh yeah, that the that timbo omajubanala yorata omajubanala. That Jessimsayana yorda. Kanjir Gese Namla Troy, Jinda Turum Jewa Jebaja, Saba Kiji Kijon Tish, Misulation, the way you my is. Kanjir Gese Namla Troba is. Kangi Cherry Chanjusamana Tondo Cheba is, and Jimbata Turuno Soba Jewa Jarsabe, Gewa Yang, and Saba Kiji Petreg Sabi Gewa Tian, Kondo Kiji, Jongeres. Saba Kiji Kijon teacher. Well, do you? Misulation, the way you might is Misuba Chevale, Condos Soboko Matuatele, Yabacho, your mares.
No,
Oh, this one. See the
young Gypsy, no, Sobojas, and young Gypsy.
Kanjir Gase number Trova is Chanju Sambala, Kondo Chevadua. 아니 제가 되기 아니 짐바다 수림로 소바 개월 개월그래나 사지 개월이나 양 아니 공백기대 지기 좀 두고 그래 제가 공도디 아니 딩바 강강나는 배 딩바는 배 딩바 치슈들에서
And scriptural support is found as well in the Madhyamaka Avatara, Enduring the Middle Way, in which the verse reads, 100 eons worth of virtues of generosity and patience toward the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, or to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, in a moment's fit of anger are destroyed.
Oh yeah. 딱 가서 제수이랑 가둘라 가르시어를 상계도 전주선배 줘발라 제수이랑 제나 아니 거기 겨와 주제 제가다 야제 토베 요바 어디 나시다다 콘도 되게 겨와 좀도 있어 봐야 아니 랑게 뭐 겨와 지기도 뭐 제매나 콘도 배 이게 나시 막 dob침부 짜 투고를 어쨌든 콘도 계속 좀 있어도 콘도를 했어 콘도 여기 계속 간다 가서 dob침부 있나요 그 좀 두고요 일단 다좀 맞투기야 탑시에도 가래서 나 뭐하듯이 제대로 와서 어디서
And in rejoicing too, by the same principle, when one rejoices in the virtues of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, one achieves a share of their same virtues. But when a fit of anger, but with a fit of anger, in a moment's anger, no matter the might of one's collection of virtue, that anger is enough to destroy the collected virtues, no matter their size, no matter their strength. And so the importance of the dedication to preserve the virtue.
어이, 아주 지딩 지소나 지딩나 이바이나 아는 것도 디버사도 좀 인지미지 밀은 너바께로 밀배 미세바 저 그거 초바이나 아는 거베 디버친 버째로 고두자레스 배 할담베 두쇼 찌기로 와스 다 뭐네 냠랭 토라 세드게 되면은 다 간다 미세바이나 다 밀은 너바께바이나 초바 좀 가리나양 다 간다 콩도도 모두 줄면은 미세게 말에 란시게 말에 아니 밀려내봐 게 두고 말해 또 좀 지두고 말해 되게 강가 용거에서 또 공도 규칙이 용거를 해서 공도도 예바 치실 지기 어려서
And in the world in which murder occurs, and we consider murder the very worst sort of ill, there's murder, there's theft, there's coercion and oppression. No murder, no theft, no coercion would ever happen were it not for anger causing it. Anger causes us to murder, to harm others, to oppress others.
야, 딱 근데 콩동원도 줄면은 아니 미수수를 간다 라시 접통 말 밀레 세야 파샤 갑제 수통 말잖아 이게 강가 모두 저 되게 되게 레 되게 지어 모두로 콩도 송데 콩도 되게 원기 아니 신라 내봐 랑신 강가 내봐 강가 자와 용에 자와도 차들 세다 미수바디 서버 고마도 바디 되게는 되고 최쇼 아니 거기 디브나미 제 최쇼 어디에 숨 거래서
Without anger, furthermore, there would be no suicide. There would be no homicide. Anger causes the suicide, the homicide. It is an inability to resist anger, and wherever anger does manifest, that these occur. So it is then that inability to be or practice forbearance, susceptibility to anger is caused so much ill.
야, 저 새벽에 냠낸다. 아니 콘도비 님이 14부 따고 썼는 준주리오 두바. 아니 람림 따기는 람림 기부 침묵을 남겨줘 봐. 어떻게 그것들은 막 빼마시고 사바신 세부신 송열에 송을.
The advantages of tolerant forbearance. The disadvantages of anger are described with the greatest profundity and insight in the Dharma of great scope.
Oh yeah, 내가 그 드린 대샤도 대샤는 있었나 내가 더 봤어다 마세보다 아니 그제 지구가 들리는 거 지구가 들리는 대체 아니 가도 너는 좀 고소했어.
We will conclude here then. Any doubts you may have, anything that isn't clear, we may clarify in our Q&A. And then after the Q&A, we will recite our closing prayers.
Yeah. 지도 지구 땅에서 나고 답시죠 좀 잘 지셔서.
You prepare to be to debate with great alacrity and dexterity.
그러면 네 깨진다. 그게 벌써 쭉. 내가 그 벌써 소바지 땅이 봐. 이 이게 땅 편인데 이게 땅 맞는데 그게 그 먼거 쏘고 있어. 이제 안에 집이지도 쏘고 있어. 그냥 땅에서 그냥 깨지 땅을 쳤어. 어디 좀 저러 가지. 예 같이 되죠. 이게 땅에 땅인데 이게 땅에 그것도 깨지나 야구도 없어. 예, 또 초반에 땅이 봐. 이 대고기. 이래 지금 냠슈슈만 되는 도다. 그것도 깨지 땅을 쳤어. 그건 신이야. 오늘 배워서 이제 정도 쉬우도 다다 보러. 배워서 지금 뭐 먹는 것도 뭐 먹어도 돼. 인지도 없습니다. 배워서 개만 당하고 내가 매디 지게 지고서 내가 배워서 따지면 이러다 되게 다시 좀 적어놔 봐. 제가 스탄시야 봐. 가져 연구이면 세우다 깨도 인지 돌려야 해. 이 돌려는 망제. 야제 유도 인지는 배워서 망고 용말. 주주에 나도 주주 뭐 제가 땅에 말아. 근데 거기 용이 같이 누가 얘네 거기 온다. 제가 다 비슷. Oh yeah, that's fishy stuff. What I'm talking about.
Okay, now bring it.
Yeah, that's
Thank you, Geshe-la. This is
Yeah.
not so much of a heated debate, but just something I missed, which is when you were listing the antidotes that are offered in each of the branches. What I missed, I didn't understand. And one, I think I misheard. So with dedication, is it an antidote to the negative effects of anger? I had written down that it was the antidote to anger itself. And so that I was confused about. It seems in the continued description that that dedication is a very powerful antidote to the effects of anger. But I'm not seeing how it would be an antidote to anger itself.
Oh,
That's my first question.
접시 순바.
이게 다 아니 직체성 아니 이게 아니 이나 든 레레라 님보 레레 아니 장소 직체성 아니 드네 제세 양직 아니 고통성 다 아니 뭐디 아니 컨트롤이 님보 그래서 아니 동성 이내양 컨트롤이 제부 라 님보 땡여레베 야메나 양메나 컨트롤랑 라 님보 땡여레베
건강하는 님 때문에 야가 열어서.
라
control nimbu top signal, nimbu top sumba de chagaja. Also, nimbu kundu chibu top sena. And the control nimbu tengo, Julie nimbu tengo, Julie nimbu tena, and the devil nimbu resmus.
In dedication, consider it to be antidote to the cause, anger itself, especially. Think of the 4 antidote powers, of the 3rd antidote power, of the application of antidote powers, and apply that to anger itself. Think in this way. That address your question.
Julie nimbu tena, devil nimbu resmus.
If you apply the antidote, you apply an antidote to the cause, for naturally with the elimination of the cause, there will be no result. Thus, it is practical to apply the antidote to the cause. Others?
Yes,
At the time of anger, it appears to me that the cause of anger is something external, a person or situation. Why does it appear like that? And also, is anger ever justified?
Yeah, and control sad zambala. The control lang shidi and chigi ngobo nangere kadu yene chigi ngobo chigi netsu yenandra and chigi gangsa yenandra chis nangere chis nangere carriage and chis nangere chi the na and the chikche then control lang go back gumsen yandakpa in the air.
Control long of a Junzi, there was Ranginzi.
Oh,
Ranginzi mena, Condo Yomares, Condo Yonsa Shigura Yomar, Ranginzi the Yena, Condo Yonsa Shidi. Now Condo Yonsa Chini Yon said it, around the low Goma Gom Keber Chevores. Rangi Tomone logo told us, some told us, but what is Comte Yena? Any Condo the Chini Mayo, Nang Yon, Sorgeres. That's look, Mahoba never seeing a chilo to Gutsugur, ne, Duga, Yagashi and I, Dugashi and Corre Laguras. Someone a ship up with some of Matana, and no Dukan around about the shell, not remember. The low Konama to Umares.
Is anger justified? Is anger ever justified? Yes, anger is justified. Anger directed at pathological self-love is justified. The external appearance of cause for anger is a manifestation of the mind's being accustomed to this manner of thought. However, with careful examination, the mind may become accustomed or discover that in fact, the cause of anger is inward and not in actuality external at all. It is because we are overly accustomed to attributing cause to externalities that we do not discover what we would with great care discover to be the inward source of anger. Outward appearance of cause for anger is in reality no different than the scenario in which we draw our hand too close to a flame and are burned. And if we were to put our hand in a fire and then be burned, and then become angry at the fire, this would be to overlook our responsibility, having put our hand near the flame. If you thought about it, you would find you are responsible and the fire is not.
In Liberation in the Palm of Your Hand on dedication, on the 6 points of dedication, it says that what is to be dedicated are our own root virtues. But I have a sadhana that I said for a while that says, I dedicate the virtues of myself and all others. So that goes beyond my root virtues, just kind of like offering. I can offer the phenomena that I would consider quote unquote mine, but I can also offer freely beauty and other things that are not quote unquote mine. Is that true for dedication as well?
Lots of the namro lak chang la and dating de la Yores and Lana, Suzuki gave a sack of it, give it our Suzuki gave it our and the Mogiore. In a Narangi dropped up chigla and a Yaman Karachi years Lamna and a Ngada and a Shindaki gave us sack of the Yongsu Mochegi or Jezan, the Choba Buddha Zambala, Choba Zeman Rao Mombo Yoro, Dr. Zungwe and Zayore, or the Nigiore. Did Chiksung Chene, and the Moche is Dedia, and the Shingi Sakyoki Gewa, Sichogre.
Educators. Tilates Mamushe Mamuyor, that gets a moya tela, changes Sabe Gewa, Rangi Sabe Gewa. Any more than to say it, Mokoya, at the day, Yamne Mangojior, this Mamma with the Trinity, they shall drink to the Tubusha where the jail share was something like the Shasha years, so that the Chiran to what on the changes, I don't know the Jess Shiran, Yamne Dinner, she do. 아니 내가 제수이랑 제대로 한게 교신 요니가 도와 대난신 뭐지도 뒤에 빼야 지고에 잘심 먹고 해서
In explanations to come, we will deal in detail with this. I concluded here because there is much to say about this. Your question leads us into considerations to come. For yes, in fact, in dedication, one dedicates one's own root virtues and the virtues of others. And there are particular practices for intermixing the two. Just as it was in rejoicing, that one rejoices in one's own virtues and the virtues engaged in by others, so too in dedication, for the increase of those virtues and directing of those virtues, one may dedicate one's own virtues as well as others.
There's more chitang, that subject term more chitang, and she give more chitang, and rang is you saw Simbatas, Mobile Saba, you will give us some more chitang, the Mango share was sitting at the to the Jamana share choice.
Now, in the explanations to come of virtue and dedication, these explanations will involve dedication of the virtues of others, dedication of virtues in which one is personally continuing to engage in presently, as well as virtues to come. All of these and how they are dedicated is the subject of our coming classes. Oh, sure.
One might have acted in such a way that they have created or accumulated great amounts of virtue, but they have not dedicated the virtue. After that has occurred, they've done something is not here, some somewhat trivial act of anger, and then all of that virtue that may have been dedicated is lost. The benefit of that is all lost on that one act of anger. If one dedicates the virtue of acts of merit, and later does something that's not virtuous, is that like a prophylactic protection? That merit is still, the previous merit that has been dedicated is not affected by later acts that are unvirtuous.
Oh yeah, then so the sakyo gave a day more majena, mangona, Jesu, and a conro kichik some lanaya, and a chom roadi, yesigi, so sung song. Then a so sakyo gave a day yongsu na, Jesu, Tipele chik chena, ngongo gyabananshin, ngon sakyo le ngok sarkyo di, chom roye gi ninga yorube. Oh, I didn't hear the crispness of a hand clap, so I'm not going to answer with any clarity.
자기들 술을 열었는 거를 열었어. 제자들 고 가다를 마음발로 중원을 유배 아니 컨트롤해야 님부 땡 쪽으로 중 사조래 님부 땡 쪽으로 다다 중심발에 님부 땡 쪽으로 내가 강가를 님부 땡 쪽으로 해서 그렇지.
The intensity of the dedication will be the condition that determines whether all cases of a non-virtue and negativity, for instance, of anger, stand any chance of destroying the accumulated virtues. Whether that anger or non-virtue is coming in the future, or is even presently occurring, or has occurred. In all cases, this is determined by the intensity of the dedication.
Oh, yeah, that David Condola, 인복하는 대표 콘도 되기 레사브 레디 바 다바체는 그 대부 용무가 소거와 제단 콜링 못하고 열었어. 마음배 콘도들 꼭게 맞추고 계획치기가 있는 콜링 못하고 열었어.
So it is that an instance of past anger and the negative karma that it caused, the karmas, the actions themselves are purified by the dedication. And then so too does the dedication prevent occurrence of an anger that will destroy roots of virtue.
Oh yeah, 콘도 말려고는 수수 콘도 레버 하고야지 쌤나 고미나 다고 밑에는 미꾸마도 연구이나 다고 꾸마도 레스다 생각도 도선치기로 와. 그나이 콘도 량도 어떻게 밑두제 레버 나신신 수수 레스 삼번 원신 뭐 제토나 아니 콘도 까토야 자기 약속이라 열에서
If one can anticipate anger as an eventuality, just as one may anticipate a burglar, being able to identify who is a thief, then one can prepare for that burglar to come and be on guard.
간다 거기 미국 통해 수부 유명 개발만도 간다 연나 지벌 미 삼바 독자 공도 용도 미 독자지 요하나 지벌 열에서 하고
And
미국 통해 유명 개발시 열에서
there's really no difference here between anger and the burglar. The anger doesn't have visible form, the burglar does, but their behavior is the same.
고마디 연에서 저기 정시대로 뒤나 이제 공도들이 라는 정시대로서
A burglar, a thief, does us harm. Anger does us harm.
야 아무리 있어도
Oh, thank you, Yeshua. Yeshua, you're talking about the intensity of the dedication. So my question is, just like, when you're doing your work, you can kind of do it in autopilot mode where you're not really thinking about it, but you're doing the work anyway, and you're getting it done. So you're not doing it with you're not putting your whole mind to it, you're not putting your emotion into it, you're just going through the actions. Similarly, if you're doing the dedication, like, we do the dedication, like, so just saying the words, I dedicate them with the virtues, the dedication with faith and best, etc. And if you're just saying the words, but you're not really mentally there or emotionally putting it in, does that still count? Or do you have to, like, every time put all your emotion, all your thought? And if there's one person who's putting all, and I guess this is the second part of the question, is if there's somebody who's putting all their emotion and everything into this dedication versus somebody who's just saying the words, is one person going to get more benefit than the other?
Oh yeah, 이게 뭐기 최종 이게 개발 근데 즉 송송
오예
아니 제선데 배치샤네 아니 레게 제디 삼삼나 릭바 짐네 아니 레게 제기요레 삼삼 아니 릭부터 lötangne라
오예
lö네 lö진데네 아니 릭바 마짐네 레게 제양 요르와
이어려
그래서 이 아니 내가 나신 아니 뭐기 앞도 뭐 제도 이카시기 릭바 짐네 서로와당 제베 토네 아니 뭐에 뭐놈들 얘기하기요래 미카시기 카삼 식삼 된데 되네 아니 뭐놈 아니 가르면 아니 뭐기요라 뭐 거기 그래 거기서 뭐기요래 다 디기 개발 가능시래 직접 되네 아니 미치기 카삼 식삼 된데 되네 아니 제부 가래 아니 톱그래 아니 미치기 서로와당 제베 토네 아니 릭바 짐네 아니 뭐나 제부 가래 톱 그래?
오예 니 지나는 미지 배샤 칸에 개 말라버지 rollo 봄지 라버트스 그래서나 아니 그냥 가서 소화지 그래서 제 주는 맞아서 저기다 라서나 소화관이 저래서 그냥 내가 이제 해서
사야치게 사야치 right. Suppose a person comes to you and gives you $1 million. How would you feel? Suppose someone came to you and said, I will give you $1 million. How would you feel?
어디라고 그래서 쌤 소화유나 숙체와 소화면은 그 소화매jo를 그 제부로나 따나 싫어 그 제부로나 따시는 거 차면은 가는 내jo를 뭐 잘 말해서
So the difference in feeling, how you feel, this makes the difference. One is to play a record over and again. One is to have a feeling for it and to make the dedication. The difference in the feeling invested is important. Virtues and non-virtues in which we engage are engaged in, determined by our mental experience first. the intensity of the mental experience will give expression to the verbal and to the physical manifestation of it. So then the mental feeling invested is important.
근데 진주 바이오카도 대시 개별 가스나 이 쌈 아니 룽아도 되나 아니 네 그거 대부 동에 첨부 여봐 야 이기 쌈 룽아도 맞잖아 예바 총아 여봐 아니 이기 마삼바 룽아도 템바이나 예바 매바 어디를 가든 되시나 요래서
Last week, in the Way of the Bodhisattva's chapter on conscientiousness, consequences were described in terms of the mental feeling that causes the physical and the verbal expression, where mental feeling is followed by its verbal and physical expression. This leads to the gravest consequence, where there is a mental commitment made, but no expression is given to it verbally or physically. The consequences are not so grave. Where there is no mental experience at all of having made any commitment, then one has no responsibility.
미션을 집었다야 제직 당기 집었다고 섬 아니 쌤한테 칸에 말아봐서 집마다는 샤바이나 레디기 이달을 기그레스 아니 쌤네 제네 칸에 락산이 집마다나 아니 녀와를 기그레스 어디까지 데려가서 예반의 시도들이 시타로
If one first thinks to give charitably to another, but makes no physical or verbal promise to, and then does not give charitably to another, one is reborn as a preta. When one thinks to give charitably to another, and then physically and verbally promises to give to another, and then does not give charitably to another, the consequence is graver, one is reborn in a hell realm.
그런 거도 쌤나가 저 잘라도 밀 진고 쌈네 마지막에 예바되는 저 주주가 한국도 세상 거 얘기 내가 생각 감상 싸되고 아니 싸 근데 대단한 예바 친구 여봐 그 마트는 한거 예바도 개요 말서 대사도 예바도 여봐 가서 이제 그런 것만 나들 더 송아송
The mere mental thought to give to another commits another to this. So it is that mental karmas occur very easily. But where there's no thought, then there isn't any of the intensity.
그런 것도 레사생이 깔래키니요 말았어 쌤나 템버 라고 구조점에 레사가 쌤나 텐에 레사가 세상 레사야로 강에 키니요 말았어 레 상감해봐 또 친구 여봐 이들 아니 가지고 있다 쌤나가 되봐 여봐 따다다 그마 투어도 레 이모기 샤베 레지 바자는 가지고 하산 슉 친구 여봐 뒤쪽다 바 가다 슉 친구 여봐다 이게 원기 라는 가다 지 동해 연구 여봐 이게 레디기 파세 구구 여봐 세나 아니 동해 연구 매봐 또 냠내 저 데려서
So it should be easy to see that karmas occur very easily too. To think to do a thing and then to act upon it causes one karma. But the mere thought to do a thing, the mental impulse too is a karma. And when they occur so easily, they become innumerable. And they become the innumerable causes, preventing us from ever succeeding in anything we hope for. They're very intense and very powerful and proliferate. Their reduction and final elimination is therefore the objective of our meditation.
you think of this, I'm going to be best. 아니 이런 남시 조시도 안 치료도 샬라서 르르시엔 가시가 좀 더고 있는 소리 땅에 뒤에서 거지.
So shall we then conclude here with our closing prayers? And then because the weather's so warm, we may enjoy a meal together and continue our conversation outside.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 맞아. 말은 됩니다.
Okay, I'm going to recite the closing prayer.
먼저 말은 돼야 될까? 말은 돼야 될까? 당당한 뭐 제, 뭐 말은 쉐바 이마서 뭐 말은 쉐바 인도 다만 단다 추 라미 첨보로 진이 제벽에 일부들라 때네 아니 나랑도 수수기 생기 유무시와 유무시네 아니 배 제원 사람 탐지도 배 아미 고바 톰네 배 산지 고바 전주 요바 아야 내가 나랑도 코유 다들 좀 받이나도 중앙에 내봐다 아니 싶어서 마도 먹게 돼서 쉬워 오 선제 탐지 배 동해 가리는 시대와 탐지 토바쇼 근데 뭐 숙친도 나로 나서로
As we close with our prayers, recall distinction between prayer and dedication, and how here our prayer will be a dedication to prayer and dedication of the virtues of listening to the Dharma and instructing in the Dharma. These virtues may be directed to the pacification of the mental afflictions in our own minds, to the ever-increasing good fortune in subsequent lives of rebirth in heavenly realms and as human being again. And then furthermore to the elimination, bringing to a final end of the calamities that the world faces of famine and violent conflict. With fervor then and intensity, inform your dedication prayer with these thoughts.
That's it.
Page 12.
Namba kashi saba de lome mare ki no rowa Nande jave wambo da ju je Dema sunde zera kunde Jave yaje zeve jezo Tebe gamba kunzan la jejo Yene robe jena nije Rangi jishen tobe langine Shudra zeve tabe take ye Drobe iti mba sejene Yawe temba yunbe zingyo che Temba rijen choje majamba Jaja nyamba yube chode ne Ninje temba yira yoba she Tende sawa cheva Tejen yawe Nijon chele Lengro chancho lanje Tate namje yela bede she Yawe zewa lenge kyonju che Naka drube duje druje che Keke seje mena neme Tera kudu jawe nabayi Namda namda tewa maju chi Kanse tewa jola juji Juji bula tuba deyi se Tupne kamje tatu roje chi Taji jaro tungun chanju chi
From my two collections, vast the space that I have amassed, from working with them religious practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those who might or blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my life. May I find the best of the past with the complete teaching, and may I please all the Buddhas by practicing. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the mind of all beings with the points of the path of thy discernment, and may I please all the Buddhas with my heart moving in great compassion in whatever direction the most wretched teachings have not yet spread, but once spread have declined. May I for this treasure of happiness persuade all sentient beings. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace. May the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time. By following a complete graduated path of enlightenment and the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons. May all humans and humans make things conducive for practicing the excellent path, never departed in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold high on the virtuous practice, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere.
Dagi Jin Sabe Gewati
Pendant Roa, Tula Gampendon,
Jebala Jin Bosan Chapati Timbe Nimbo Ringo Sete Sho Gare Ramwe Goro Sengande Pendant de Woro Maru Yobe Jebala Jima Tinde Gavati Shabe Sinde Baru Tenjurchi Yanga Bawo Jeda Jimba Nao Kundu Zambo De Ande Shente Jeda Kunji Jesu Dalo Je Jewa Jeda Tamje Rakumo Yusu Shebe Jewa Tamje Ge Manga Shotu Manga Daji Jebe Sawa Jigu Yang Zambo Cheche Ratu Mawa Je Chanju Senjo Rinpoche, Maje Bana De Yuchi, Yeva Yamba Beba Yam, Mone Mundu Beba.
Oh, I dedicate whatever virtues I have ever collected for the benefit of the teachings and of sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Losang Chokpa to shine forever. In the land encircled by snow and mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful Chenres and anything else, please remain until psychic existence is ended. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantha realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way, that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue, with a dedication praised as the best, by the victorious thus gone ones of the three times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. May the supreme jewel of Bodhisattva that has not arisen rise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more.
Oh,
Thank you, everybody, and outside there's food and we can enjoy that together.